Imagine this. You're earning $75,000 a year. You should feel comfortable, maybe even thriving. But somehow every month, after rent, groceries, student loans, car payments, and just a little bit of fun, you're left with almost nothing. And you're not alone. Across America, millions of people with what used to be considered good jobs are living paycheck to paycheck, wondering where their money actually goes. Today we're diving into why so many Americans feel broke, even with a steady, decent-paying job, and what this says about the economy, our future, and your wallet. For decades, we've been told that if you work hard, get an education, and land a good job, financial stability will follow. But in 2025, that promise seems broken. Surveys show that nearly 60% of Americans making over $100,000 a year still live paycheck to paycheck. That's not just low-income families struggling. It's professionals, managers, even dual-income households. So what's going on? Why does the math not add up anymore? And more importantly, is this feeling of being broke an illusion, or is the American middle class truly disappearing? When you ask Americans today what it feels like to live with a good job, the answers are often startling. People earning what their parents would have called dream money, $70,000, $80,000, even six figures, quietly admit they're living paycheck to paycheck, juggling bills and feeling like they're barely hanging on. The contradiction is everywhere. Solid incomes, yet financial instability. Why does this happen? Let's break down the forces at play, not just with statistics, but with real-life textures so you can feel what's happening, not just hear it. Let's start with the basics. A job is supposed to cover the cost of living, rent or mortgage, food, transportation, healthcare, maybe a vacation or two, and some savings for retirement. But the cost of these essentials has ballooned so much that even decent salaries barely scratch the surface. Picture this. In 1980, the average price of a home was about $47,000. Adjusted for inflation, that's roughly $170,000 today. But the actual median home price in 2025? Over $420,000. That's not just inflation at work. It's housing costs completely outpacing wage growth. Rent tells the same story. A young couple in Austin making a combined $100,000 a year might have felt rich 20 years ago. Today, they'll easily spend $3,000 or more a month on a one-bedroom apartment. Add in utilities, internet, and parking fees, and they're burning through nearly 40% of their income just to keep a roof over their heads. Food has also crept into luxury territory. Grocery bills that once felt manageable now cause sticker shock every week. Families report spending $1,200, $1,500 a month on groceries, and that's without factoring in the occasional meal out. And then there's healthcare. Even with employer-sponsored insurance, families spend thousands per year in premiums, deductibles, and copays. One medical emergency, even something as common as a broken arm or a dental surgery, can send people spiraling into credit card debt. When you add these essentials together, you start to see why Americans with good jobs feel broke. The math doesn't work anymore. Now let's move beyond survival costs and into something subtler, lifestyle inflation. Think about it this way. Every time wages inch upward, so do expectations. The $60,000 job you landed might have felt huge compared to your first $30,000 gig. But with a bigger paycheck comes bigger spending. Not because people are frivolous, but because modern life almost requires it. Take technology. 20 years ago, families didn't need smartphones, Wi-Fi subscriptions, Netflix, or cloud storage. Today, they're non-negotiables. A family of four could easily spend $400 to $600 a month just on phone plans, internet, and streaming services. That's the equivalent of a car payment. And then comes the pressure to spend more visibly. Social media has become a silent driver of financial stress. Scroll through Instagram or TikTok, and you'll see friends on luxury vacations, upgrading their kitchens, or wearing the latest fashion trends. Even if you're disciplined, the psychological pull is hard to resist. People don't just want to survive anymore, they want to appear successful. This is why even professionals earning six figures often say, "I feel like I should be doing better than this." The yardstick keeps moving, because the comparison game is endless. For millions of Americans, debt is the single biggest reason they feel broke. And not all debt is reckless spending. Much of it comes from trying to climb the ladder. Let's start with student loans. The average borrower graduates with nearly $40,000 in debt. For lawyers, doctors, or MBAs, that number can balloon into six figures. That's essentially a mortgage payment without the house. Then there are cars. With public transportation lacking in most of the country, reliable vehicles are mandatory. But the average car payment for a new vehicle in 2025 has crossed $750 a month. For a family with 2 cars, that's $1,500 every month before gas and insurance. And the biggest financial trap? Credit cards. Americans now hold over $1 trillion in credit card debt, and interest rates have reached historic highs, often 20% or more. Imagine paying $300 a month toward your balance and realizing $220 of it went just to interest. That's money that doesn't build wealth, doesn't improve your life. It simply disappears into the banking system. Debt is the invisible ball and chain that keeps workers feeling poor no matter how much they earn. It ensures that a raise doesn't always translate into freedom. Instead, it's swallowed by repayments. Now let's confront the elephant in the room: wages. On paper, Americans are earning more than ever. But when adjusted for inflation, the story flips. A worker in the late 1970s could support a family of 4 on a single income, buy a home, and put away savings. Today, the same middle-class job often requires both spouses to work, just to break even. Why? Because wages have stagnated while the cost of living has surged. According to economists, productivity, the amount of value workers generate, has increased dramatically since the 1970s. But wages haven't followed. Instead, the profits have flowed upward, concentrating wealth in the hands of corporations and the ultra-rich. This is why people say, "I'm working harder than ever, but I don't feel richer." The data backs them up. They're not imagining it. All these forces converge into a single outcome: the shrinking middle class. The American dream was built on the promise that hard work could buy stability, a home, healthcare, education for your kids, and a comfortable retirement. But today, more families are slipping into financial precarity. Consider this: nearly 60% of Americans making $100,000 or more still live paycheck to paycheck. That means they're one emergency away from financial disaster. These are supposed to be the winners in the system, the ones who did everything right. Instead, the middle class has become a squeezed zone, caught between rising costs and stagnant wages, carrying more debt than ever. The wealthy accumulate assets, while the poor receive social safety nets. The middle class, it's left to fend for itself, often sinking silently into stress and anxiety. It's easy to look at charts and numbers, but the emotional weight of feeling broke is often heavier than the financial reality. Imagine a nurse working 12-hour shifts, making $85,000 a year, but constantly stressing about rent and daycare. Or a software engineer clearing 6 figures but drowning in student loans, car payments, and the pressure to maintain a successful lifestyle. These aren't just anecdotes, they're widespread experiences, and they carry consequences. Financial stress affects mental health, relationships, and even physical health. The anxiety of constantly worrying about money can erode well-being in ways that numbers can't measure. To truly understand why good jobs don't feel good anymore, we have to zoom out and look at systemic forces. Globalization shifted manufacturing jobs overseas, reducing wages in many industries. Automation is eating into middle-class work, forcing people into gig economy roles with less security. Corporate consolidation has reduced competition, allowing companies to raise prices without improving wages. Financialization has made wealth grow fastest for those who already own assets like stocks and real estate, leaving wage earners behind. The result is a system that works brilliantly for the top 10%, but feels broken for everyone else. Here's the tricky part. Sometimes the feeling of being broke is also psychological. Many Americans technically live better than previous generations in terms of comfort, better technology, entertainment, conveniences, healthcare access. But financial insecurity isn't about what you have today. It's about whether you feel safe tomorrow. And that's the heart of the issue. Most Americans, even those with good jobs, don't feel safe financially. They know one medical bill, one layoff, or one rent hike could unravel everything. That's why they feel broke, because they lack a cushion, a margin, a sense of stability. When a majority of workers feel broke, it reshapes society. People delay marriage, children, and home ownership. They invest less, save less, and take fewer risks. Consumer confidence dips, and political polarization grows as frustration with the system boils over. The American dream was once a unifying story, but when millions no longer believe it applies to them, disillusionment sets in. That's not just an economic challenge, it's a cultural one. The headlines show this problem isn't going away. This year, surveys reveal more than half of US workers feel financially insecure, even with raises. Meanwhile, credit card delinquencies are hitting decade highs, and younger generations, millennials and Gen Z, say they doubt they'll ever own homes. At the same time, corporate profits are at record highs. This disconnect fuels resentment and raises serious questions. If good jobs no longer guarantee stability, what does the future look like for American workers? Think about it. Your grandparents could buy a house, raise a family, and save for retirement on a single income. Today, two incomes often can't achieve the same. That's why most Americans, even those with good jobs, feel broke. It's not laziness. It's not poor money management. It's a system that's shifted under our feet. But here's the silver lining. Awareness is power. By understanding the forces at play, making smarter money moves, and refusing to accept the illusion of stability, you can take control of your finances. The American dream may be harder to reach, but it isn't gone. Do you feel broke even with a good job? Drop your experience in the comments. I want to hear your story. And if you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss insights like this. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I really appreciate you watching. Your support keeps this channel going. Until our next video, take care and have a wonderful day.